That moment, when you realize why World War is actually happening, is thanks to Tanya not believing in God. And so, being X is so petty, he's like, you know what? Fuck you, Tanya. I want to make the whole world come after your nation because you don't believe in me. You're faithless. Holy shit. That is actually the plot of this right now. Like, just think about that for a second. That is actually the plot of this series right now. The whole world is coming after Tanya because she is faithless. I mean, they have their own reasons, obviously, but Being X set it all up to come after Tanya's nation because of Tanya in the first place. So, holy shit, Being X, you're petty. You're a petty motherfucker. I'm just gonna be honest. You're petty as fuck. Like, damn. Anyways, that scene with Tanya when time stopped once again, and Tanya probably realized what was going on, and she instinctively turned around and shot the corpse. Because you don't know how often it is where a character won't do the basic and simple things, like shoot a body or shoot someone down or whatever. When the corpse got a bullet hole put in it, I'm like, damn, that is stuff I would love to see more from an MC. Just any character doing something like that, just going complete savage mode and shooting someone while they're down or shooting a corpse because they think it might get up and, you know, be Being X or something. I'd love to see more stuff like this from any series, just to see a character being complete savage and doing something that actually would make sense, because in all likelihood, that person could have still been alive, and so when Tanya turned around and shot that dude, that just showed how cautious she was. Well done, Tanya. After everything I've seen from the series so far, my amazement from your character continues to grow. If there's one thing this series definitely has going for it, it is Tanya. I've said it time and time again, and I will continue to say it. That is the sole reason why I love this series. The sole reason why I watch the series is thanks to Tanya. Tanya is just that type of character that can really carry a show, and once again, this episode does exactly that. That one scene this episode, besides just shooting the corpse with Being X and all that, there was a scene that really got me laughing. It was when Tanya got onto the front of the bomber plane, and was like, "Good day, goodbye," and then threw a fucking grenade in. I'm like, yo, that is fucking badass. Like, that shit is just so smug and badass. When Tanya jumps on the plane, and she's like, "Good day, goodbye," throws a grenade, just jumps off. Like, oh my god. Like, that scene was so good. That was such a good fucking scene. That was such a good scene. Like, that was so funny. I was laughing, but it just seemed like Tanya was really enjoying herself. For a character that honestly always wants to be in the rear line, they don't want to be on the front lines, she seems to really enjoy going in the front lines and really, you know, killing a lot of people, especially what she did in this episode, when she ripped all those planes out of the sky and they just fell tumbling to the ground. She really loves doing that type of shit. Just like, damn. Anyways, though, let's talk about Being X for a second, okay? Being X, I think this is the first time we've really seen a side to him that was just straight up malicious. Like, this character, Being X, he's symbolized as the god of the series, and the whole reason why things are happening to Tanya is because Tanya doesn't believe in this god, and is completely faithless, and because of this, that is why everything is happening, or why she is reincarnated. She just refuses to accept this god, even though there's clearly evidence before her, she doesn't want to actually accept him, which is leading all to these problems that's going on around her, and this is the first time we've actually seen to where Being X is really malicious. Like, this man is going out of his way to really just get back at Tanya. Like, this man is being so petty, he's willing to kill so many people, thousands upon thousands of people, millions of people most likely, just to get back at one sole person that is faithless. And it just shows you how petty this is, how petty he can be as a person or as a god because of what he is doing. And in this case, we gotta look at it like this, okay? I feel like, in one way, the way you look at it is the why he's doing this is because he wants Tanya to constantly pray to him. Remember, one of the big things about, you know, Tanya's character now and how she's able to use her abilities is thanks to being able to pray. She has to pray to Being X. She has to pray to God. If she doesn't pray to God, her abilities will not work at all, and obviously she will die and get completely fucked over. So, in this way, with being X initiating a world war, constantly everybody coming after, Tanya's nation, that would mean that she's going to constantly have to pray more and more. She's going to probably have to pray on the daily. And this is probably going to be something that really, Tanya doesn't like at all. We already know she dislikes that completely because she has to do something like that. And you can even see in this episode when she has to say the exact same phrase and when she, is worshiping God, she's like, I pray to God and all that, and she's using her abilities. You saw in her face, the way the emotions were in her face, that she really didn't like saying those lines. But she said it, though, because she needed to say it to activate her abilities. So, once again, I feel like what Being X is trying to do here is force Tanya to constantly pray to him. And then, in a way, it gets back at Tanya to where she might eventually just have faith in him and might eventually ask him to stop. Like, stop attacking my nation, stop attacking me, let me go, let me be free, or whatever. I feel like that's what, Being X's overall objective is, to push Tanya to the point to where she's like, I give up, please, I accept you, just stop this, I'm tired of constantly getting attacked. That's what it seems like. So, yeah, overall, this new episode of Youjo Senki was a great episode. It was a really good episode of showing Tanya and how she's constantly having this struggle within herself, but also, Being X2 fighting her. But on top of that, though, World War has finally begun. And also the other characters that, Tanya trained, like her entire, squad, they're very strong too. We shouldn't underestimate them. They're really strong and they'll kick some ass as well. So it's not just Tanya doing all the ass kicking, it's actually Tanya's entire team that's doing it as well. So they're definitely really cool characters to have alongside. I don't think they're, that well developed. I don't think they're amazing characters. I just think they're pretty badass to be able to hold up with Tanya and do some crazy ass things like her. I do like stuff like that. So maybe one day the writer will dive into these support slash side characters and give them a little bit more development besides just Tanya always getting the development. I'd like to see some side characters that become close to the level of Tanya's character in terms of development. So yeah, that's my hopes of what I want from the series, but overall though, a solid episode once again. And there's one last thing I want to talk about before I end this video, and that would be about the delay of Youjo Senki. So, many of you are probably very, very aware that for some reason, Youjo Senki didn't come out yesterday. And many of you might be asking, why didn't it come out yesterday and why did it come out on Saturday? Well, the reason for it was thanks to Crunchyroll, apparently. Apparently there was some form of, production issues with Crunchyroll. Apparently it wasn't the animator studio's fault, but actually Crunchyroll's. Like, they had some form of production issues. They probably had, like, something happen with the subtitles or whatever, and the translations, that's probably what happened. But overall, though, it seems like Crunchyroll just wasn't on the ball, yesterday, and that's kind of what happened and why we didn't get an episode of Youjo Senki yesterday, and why it took so long for us to actually get the episode on Crunchyroll. Now, another thing I do want to talk about, which this actually plays a part in probably this issue as well, apparently the studio is having problems, because you want to know why? Next week's episode is a recap, and a recap episode, that's not a good sign. That's never a good sign for any series, and the reason for it is because when there is a recap episode, that means there's some form of production issues going on inside of the studio that is working on the series. And so for there to be a recap episode next week, and, this is the 6th episode of Youjo Senki, if I'm correct. For the 7th episode, or I guess 6.5, to actually be a recap episode, that's worrisome. It's really worrisome because it shows that there's problems going on in the studio. For instance, like someone is not on the ball with either animating, voice acting, or just art style or whatever. Something is going on, and I hope it's nothing too dire to really throw off the production of Youjo Senki and make it a complete bust, because something's definitely going on for us to have, some form of, delay. For instance, a recap episode is not normal. That is definitely not normal. That's definitely something to be worried about, and I hope there's just no big internal problems going on in the studio working on Youjo Senki. But on top of that, though, with the production issues this week with Crunchyroll, it makes me feel like it might not entirely be Crunchyroll's fault. Maybe the actual studio, they had a hard time getting the episode finished, and maybe they were just late in sending it to Crunchyroll or something, and that's probably what happened. I mean, something like that could happen. I have no idea, because I don't work for the studio, but there definitely is something going on, especially with the recap episode next week, but also this episode being delayed. Something's happening. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.